So a little bit of a chill and laid back video today for you guys. One that I hope a lot of you can't get mad over, but if your favorite team is towards the bottom, I'm sure someone will have something to say about it. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a fun video to make. A lot of people have been using this site to make YouTube videos really about anything, video games, fast food, restaurants, and I saw a lot of people do it talking about their favorite NHL teams as well. And I kind of wanted to make a video on it and tell you guys where my fandom lies with every NHL team. You guys know I am a Red Wings fan, but I don't really go over too much of what teams I cheer for other than the Red Wings. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to find the Red Wings. I'm going to put them up here in love. Obviously, they are my favorite team. They have been for my whole life, and I think they're probably going to be the only team up there in love. And now let's just go in the order that they have them. The Edmonton Oilers, I'm going to put them in like because I want to see them do well, but it is so tough to cheer for them. So tough to cheer for a team that is so poorly managed. Hopefully now with a new coach and now Ken Holland at the helm, things can turn around. But man, Edmonton, over the past couple of years, it definitely has been rough, but I do like them and I want to see them do well. Colorado, I'm going to put them in really like. I'm a big fan of Nathan MacKinnon. I love what I've seen from Cale Makar, and I just always find myself cheering for the Avalanche when I am watching them play. The Florida Panthers, I'm going to put them in like as well. They're a team that I've been saying over the past couple of years, this is the year they're going to make the playoffs. This is the year they're going to make it. And it seems like they just never do, and I'm always rooting for them. One of my best friends is a Florida team, so, I want to see them do well. Sadly, over the past couple of seasons, they haven't been, but they have a really nice young team there. And I think it is only a matter of time before they do get back into the postseason. So they're in like. Arizona, I think I'm going to put them in meh. They're a young, fun team to watch, but I don't really find myself cheering for them, but I don't find myself wanting them to lose too often either. So I think I'm just going to put them in meh, where I'm probably going to have a lot of teams actually in this video. The Buffalo Sabres, I'm probably going to put them in meh as well. They have, a nice little thing going there. I thought they were going to make it into the playoffs this year, after they got off to that really hot start, but they fell off. They're going to get another top draft pick, and hopefully that bodes well for them, and they can finally get back into the playoffs next year. Anaheim, I'm going to put them in dislike. Obviously, when Detroit was in the Western Conference, we had a lot of battles with the Anaheim Ducks. I don't like Ryan Kessler. I'm not really a fan of Getzlaf either. I just don't like a lot of players on that team, so I'm going to put them in dislike. And I guess I should go over the tiers here, before I continue. There's love, which obviously Detroit is really like. And then there's like, meh, dislike, hate, and then FU. I don't think I'm going to have any teams there at the bottom. I don't think there's a team in the NHL that I despise that much, but you never know. I'm going to have to look over it and, really think about it. Now the LA Kings, I'm going to put them in dislike too. I don't know what it is about the LA Kings. It's just whenever I'm watching them play, I'm like wanting them to lose. It's weird. I'm just not a fan of the LA Kings. But hopefully in the coming years they can, get this rebuild going and get some young talent in there, because that's a team that I don't really think is headed in the right direction. The Minnesota Wild, I'm going to put them in meh as well. I'm a big fan of their logo and uniform. I think that's potentially why they're in meh, and I always do cheer for them. They're kind of an underdog team that usually makes the playoffs but can't really get anything done when they get there. But this year they didn't make it. They made us some questionable trades, the Granlund and Fiala trade. The Donato and Coyle trade is looking good for them, but they're in a weird position, but I definitely put them in meh. The Boston Bruins, I'm teetering between hate and dislike. I think I'm just going to put them in hate. That's rough. I think I'm actually going to go dislike. I don't really hate any NHL team, but I definitely dislike the Boston Bruins. I feel like a lot of people do if you're not a fan of the Bruins. But it's nothing against their fans or anything. I don't know why. And they have had a pretty significant rivalry with Detroit. When Detroit was still making the postseason, Boston eliminated them a couple times. So I think that is a big reason why, I'm not a fan of the stuff Marchand does and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to put them in dislike. The Montreal Canadiens, another team I think I'm going to put in dislike. I don't know why. I'm just not a fan of the Montreal Canadiens. I think over the years, they've just been a team that isn't really likable unless you are a fan of them. So, not really too much to say about them, but I am going to put them in dislike. Wow, I actually have 4 in dislike and only 3 in meh so far. The Nashville Predators, I'm going to put them in meh. They've been a pretty dominant team, over the past couple of years, making the playoffs always and, getting a little bit of stuff done once they get there. Never been able to get that Stanley Cup, but, they still have a pretty decent core intact. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Subban this offseason, but nonetheless, they're in meh. The New Jersey Devils, I think I'm going to put them in meh as well. They have a pretty fun team to watch, and now with the number 1 overall pick and probably adding Jack Hughes to that roster, it's going to be even more fun to watch over the coming years. The New York Islanders, I'm going to put them in like. I found myself cheering for them a lot this postseason. I really wanted the conference finals to be them versus the Leafs. That didn't happen, but nonetheless a fantastic year for New York. Hopefully something they can build off. The New York Rangers I'm putting in like as well. over this rebuild, they have just really caught my attention. They have a ton of young players that I'm a really big fan of, and I'm definitely excited to watch them play next year and, watch a lot of the young players really develop and, get into their full NHL role. The Ottawa Senators, I'm going to put in meh. It's tough to like a team that is so poorly managed, and that's probably all I'm going to say about them. The Philadelphia Flyers, a team I'm going to put in meh as well. It's like I don't really cheer for them, but I don't really cheer against them either, so they're going to go in meh. The Pittsburgh Penguins, I'm going to put in dislike, the rivalries with Detroit over the years, them making the Cup finals against each other back-to-back years. And then obviously it still is pretty exciting when they do play against each other to this day. Another team that's been pretty dominant that I'm just kind of growing tired of, so I'm going to put them in dislike. Nothing against their fans or their players. I'm just kind of sick and tired of seeing the Penguins do so well. Next up, the Calgary Flames. I think I'm going to put them in like. I do like to see the Canadian teams do well. They had a fantastic year. I'm a big fan of Makachuk and a lot of the guys they have on that roster. So that's probably all I'm going to say about them, but I definitely do like them and cheer for them. The Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm going to put up in really like. A lot of members of my family are a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're probably my second favorite team in the NHL. A Canadian team that likes to do well. I'm a big fan of Toronto sports. If you guys didn't know, I'm a huge Raptors fan as well, so I do like to see the Maple Leafs do well. The San Jose Sharks, I think I'm actually going to go with I'm teetering between meh and dislike. I think I'll just put them in meh, but sometimes when I'm watching them, I'm like, man, I really hope they lose. And, this playoff run so far has kind of made me dislike them a little bit more than maybe I would have before the playoffs, but nonetheless, I think I'll put them in meh. The St. Louis Blues, I think I'm also going to put there. The Stanley Cup final between the Blues and Bruins should be pretty exciting. I'm going to post my preview and predictions for that probably on the weekend because I don't believe they get underway until Monday. But nonetheless, St. Louis had a fantastic year, and they definitely have grown on me a little bit. So I'm going to put them in meh. Same with the Carolina Hurricanes. I know a lot of people probably like them after the year that they had. But, I'm just not really the biggest fan of them. I would like to see them do well. I was pretty impressed by the year that they had in the playoff run, but I didn't get so attached to them like a lot of other people did. So I think I'm going to put them in meh. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm also going to put there. They're just a team that's kind of just there. I don't really cheer for or against too hard. The Dallas Stars, I think I'm going to put them in meh again as well. Like, I don't really hate any NHL team, and that's kind of what I'm noticing making this video. I don't really have any teams in the hate category just yet. Maybe I'm being a little bit, too nice and, not trying to want to offend anyone. But nonetheless, Dallas, I think, is going to be in meh. Tampa Bay, I'm putting them in dislike, man. They just were really dislikable this year. They dominated the NHL, which was cool to see. But then that playoff run, it's just unacceptable. I don't know. I dislike Tampa Bay after this year. Vancouver, I'm going to put them in meh as well. Like I said, I like to see a lot of Canadian teams do well and stuff like that. A lot of Vancouver's fans have kind of made me not like the team as much, but, that's just picking a couple of bad fans out of an entire fan base. That's not, cool to paint a bad picture just from a couple people. So I'm a fan of Vancouver, kind of. I like to see them do well because they are Canadian. But then on the other hand, I'm like, Vancouver, I don't like them so much. So it's weird. I'm going to put them in meh. The Chicago Blackhawks, I'm going to put them in dislike. I like a lot of the young players on this team, but over the past decade, they've just been dominant. They've had a rivalry with the Red Wings when Detroit was in the Western Conference. So I think I'm going to dislike the Chicago Blackhawks. The Washington Capitals, I'm going to dislike. I don't know. Washington's a weird one. Whenever I watch them play, sometimes I find myself cheering against them, which is pretty weird because, they are a pretty likable team in some aspects of the game. Tom Wilson, I really don't like some of the stuff he does. But nonetheless, I'm going to put them in dislike. The Winnipeg Jets, really like one of my best friends, Patrick Lonnie. You guys know him. He's a Winnipeg Jets fan, so I'm going to put them in really like. And I love a lot of their players. Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, former Moosehead, and their Canadian team. So, what's not to like about the Winnipeg Jets? Finishing off with the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm probably going to put them in like. I really like to see them do well. My girlfriend is a Golden Knights fan, so, it's tough to hate them. And, they've been a pretty likable team. It's cool to see Cinderella stories. A lot of people hated them for it and thought it was rigged and stuff in their inaugural season, but I honestly loved it. I thought it was pretty cool, so I think this is my list. And as you guys can see, I don't really hate any NHL team. I kind of just dislike some. So let me know what your guys' list would be. I'm going to link this down in the description so you guys can do it as well. And remember, don't get mad at this video. This is just my opinion and how I feel about these NHL teams. And like I said, I don't really hate any team. So that is probably going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. It was fun to just sit back and, you know, do this instead of just making like a top 5 or something like that. It was a chill, fun video to make. And like I said, you guys can do it. And make sure to let me know down in the comment section how you feel about the majority of the teams in the NHL and who your favorite team is. So with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.